Testing 1 2 1 2. House culture conversations. DJ Dewey B, what's happening?
What's up, Derek Lott, DJ D Lot? Good to see you, brother.
Hey man, I'm doing good. I'm doing good. It is good to see you. How are you?
Doing well, man. This weather is beautiful. Life is beautiful. It's good to be alive, and thank you for asking. Hopefully, you're
Uh,
doing the same.
yes, yes. I saw you guys had like some 80s. It's like a heat wave passing through up there.
Yeah, snow tomorrow, but yeah, or Monday, snow on Monday.
Hey, you gotta take it while you can get it.
That's
It's
right.
like when it's good, it's good.
Yep,
When
you
it's
know it.
not, it's
Yep, you know it.
oh my God. Well, hey man, I'm excited about our guest tonight. We've got something pretty exciting happening in Chicago for the house community. Something I don't know that we've seen it if not now. It's been a minute since we've had something like this. So there is a new production, house musical, coming of age in the age of house, and we have the executive producer and the musical director with us today. So I'm going to go ahead and get him out here. What you say?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. All right. Let's bring up. All
Hey,
right. Scott Free. Scott Free. How are you?
doing great. I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me.
Good to see you, Scott.
Absolutely.
Yay.
Thanks for joining us. Now we've got Michael, the executive producer, with us as well.
Okay,
Let's bring him on.
cool. And
Michael, how are you?
Fantastic, Derek. Thank you so much for your time today. Great to see you. Thank you.
Hey, well, this is exciting stuff. First of all, welcome to House Culture Conversations. I want to acknowledge the folks out there in the chat. I see you, Dreammaker Diva. What's good? That's our peeps from day one. And Soul Gasmic. Soul Gasmic is from the UK. So it's
oh,
way past his
Awesome.
bedtime. It's after midnight. Soul Gasmic, you get it through the uprights. Touchdown. Thank you so much for joining us.
and we've
So
got a little UK in the musical too.
hey, I
There
love
you
it.
go.
We
Across
absolutely
the
do.
pond. There you
Cross the
go.
pond.
Yep.
So, before we get into talking about the musical, Scott, I want you to talk a little bit about your history with house. Where are you from, and where'd you grow up?
Well, I'm from the suburb of Chicago, and Mike and I went to school together at Northwestern. Um, and but I lived in New York actually when House started. And my story, I was trying to make it in music however I could. And so I had a rap song on BET in like 1984. But like I didn't have cable, so I went to a friend's house to see it. And I didn't realize it was regular rotation. I just thought they played it once. But anyway, so I'm in this 12-inch record store in Manhattan, and I'm looking at all the cool, and I knew the whole New York club scene, and I'm looking at all the records with their little designs and everything. And then over on this other wall, there were these really ugly records. They were just red and black and white, and it said house. And I went up to the DJ and said, "No, like what's that?" He goes, "Oh, that's house. That's from Chicago." And I was like, "Chicago? You mean where nothing ever happens?" I was like, "Holy shit, what is going on?" So I moved back to Chicago, and and I went and I called my sister and I said, we have to go see a house. We have to go see a house. She goes, "What is that?" And I said, "We're going to go to a house club." And I'm looking through the newspaper and I'm looking where it said house, a club that said house. And it turns out it was Music Box. And so I
Mm.
said, "Okay, let's go." She goes, "Where is it?" And I said, 18th and Michigan. I didn't know Chicago. 18th in Michigan. She goes, "18th in Michigan." It's like, it was all black, right? And we're like, "Yeah, come on, let's go." And so we went and it was, he played Acid House, which is like, to be introduced to house and you're hearing acid. My sister's like, "What is this?" But so, yeah, I just got completely immersed in the whole house world, and that's what a lot of our musical is about. Is just kind of from my perspective, from Michael's perspective, and then also from Marcus, who wrote the book, who's the script is about. It was all of our kind of coming into this house world.
That's awesome. Now, DJ Dewey B, just so you know, I think I went away for a second. I might have a twitchy twitch connection. So, you got my back. You got my back. So, Michael, tell us a little bit about you.
Thanks, Derek. And Scott really summarized it. Scott and I have known each other. We're getting out there, right? We've known each other, since the day, right? So, we've been around, and we've been just incredible friends all that time. I met Scott. Funny story: when I met him, he was looking for a drummer because his girlfriend, his sister, broke up with her boyfriend, and they needed a drummer for the band, and they found me. Somehow they found me. Derek, I'll tell you, I'm really just behind the scenes here. Scott and I have written some music together back in the day. Two white guys from the northern Illinois suburbs, right? Just finding house and it just changing their lives, back in the day. And the executive producer's job is to find real talent, and that's on the screen here. And Scott, he is the amazing, brilliant talent here. And I've been hanging on to his coattails ever since it started, and that's been total blessing for me. And even to be here today with this production is just a gift to me. So just loving every step of it.
It is.
Well, we have been excited to hear about house musical, and I guess my question for you is, why do you think it's important now, and why has house continued to thrive? I mean, back from when you guys were, checking it out in the music box and those types of things, to today, it's a worldwide phenomenon.
So I kind of came up with this idea in the process of us talking about this and trying to especially explain to the actors who none of them really, I don't think any of them were born during the time. And it's funny, and I just had realized that house is 120 beats per minute, and that's the beating of a healthy human heart. And so I'm like, I'm like, maybe that's why we like when we get into it, we get into it. It might be that's the, and I don't know if Frankie planned that or what, but I think that has a lot to do with it. There's a real kind of gut feeling to it, or it's a spiritual feel to house. And I think that's why it lives on. From the musical side, we present a whole nother aspect of what house music meant. And I knew the writer, Marcus Waller. We had met at the club, The Generator, which was part of the house scene, the gay, it was a black gay club. And we were just talking years ago, and I'd come up with this title, House Musical, and I knew, oh my God, I had to write something. But that would be a documentary, right? If you're going to talk about house, okay, great, documentary. But then he was telling me that for him, he grew up on the South Side in a very homophobic family, a homophobic environment, and he was in the closet and, depressed. And he heard about this club called The Warehouse that was like a gay club. And so he snuck in. He wasn't 21, or he got an idea, fake idea or something. And I mean, it was a life-changing experience. He saw all these black gay men just being wild and being themselves and being open, and he couldn't believe what he was seeing. And so it was such, that helped him come out of the closet. When he told me that story, I was like, oh God, okay, now we got a musical. We got it. So that's really what the musical is. It's mostly an autobiographical story of his life and his how the Warehouse helped him come out, and then subsequently what happened to him during that period. Now, the part that Mike and I bring to it is, as producers, early on when I, had to get into house, my boyfriend at the time, he introduced me to a guy named Riley Evans. And I don't know if you know that name, but he was part of the Night Writers, I should say, which he did with Frankie Knuckles. And they had a pretty big hit, but I'm forgetting the name of it, but it was early on. And so he introduced me to everybody. And that was another thing that was like, I lived in New York. I was trying to make it like the DJs, they were like 5 floors up. I mean, you would never meet them ever, right? And it was just brutal. It was horrible. I hated it. Yeah, I love New York. And I come here, and within 3 months, I know Frankie Knuckles. I know Larry Heard. I know, Gherkin. I meet everybody. Ralph Rosario. It was like Chicago was so easy. It wasn't like this star-studded place. It was people just making their music and stuff. It was totally different. So that's what we bring in. And actually, it's Riley's story that we bring.
Yeah.
Musical. And his obsession with having to become a star, and
Yeah. So, Michael, as you've gone through this experience of building the cast and being the executive producer, what has been your observation as you learn more about the depths of house music?
Yeah, I love how so many people now are discovering it. Love Dreammaker's comments. You're seeing us here. I was listening to something. I can't remember if it was Derek May or Larry Heard. There's some line in there about house is not black, house is not white, house is not brown. It's just it's really for everyone. But it really was our Black brothers who with the emerging technology, the samplers that all of a sudden became affordable, what Frankie had started by, as Scott will say, finding that beat in the disco music that no one wanted to really listen to anymore, finding that beat, putting that kick on it, and then being able to have a sampler and a Casio and the famous 909. A lot of young people with very few resources, but incredible talent, right?
Yeah.
We're able to put it all together and make this genre. I was talking to my wife the other day, she's from Mexico and knows very little about this. And I said, you go to she listens to Spotify. I said, you see this deep house? Okay, that's it. Okay. Like that's house. Okay. Like we were there, and I think, and Dreammaker said it, it was like so much coming together now. I mean, diversity and our ability to allow our Black friends to express their experience that they never were really able to. And gay culture coming out now and being, we're trying to get it so accepted. And then Save the Warehouse, right? The Warehouse is at risk right now.
Right.
So, we're playing a little part in preserving a little bit of history there.
Yeah. Yes, and appreciate that.
Yeah, they just had an initial success. I mean, it became a national story of the Preservation of Chicago saving the warehouse because the developer was going to demolish it. And they just had a meeting and passed something to get at least the initial aspect of it in place. So
that is awesome. That is, Dewey, as you sit here and hear all of this, so much is going through me as I think back. What's on your mind, Dewey? I know you got to be processing some of this.
It's a great story, and we come from a solid beginning. I'm not sure about the future, though. I mean, even if we save the warehouse, there's not another club like it that exists now currently, which is a struggle for us, man. I don't know about the other scenes, but the Black gay culture scene of house music has been depleted because the clubs are not there anymore. So it's a struggle.
Yeah, there's no doubt. I mean, that subject has come up a lot in this production of putting this together and explaining to these kids. Yeah. It's like you have no idea. We would run from club to club to club to club. Now there's like nothing. And I told them there was like 4 Black gay clubs on the north side or downtown Chicago. Now there's 0. And even the concept, they don't even have the concept of clubbing.
No,
they don't. It is not what the scene is today. No, not even club.
And
not even club.
And I think, unfortunately, there is always that understory of the economics, and the reason that they could have the warehouse is because of inexpensive rents. I mean, the reason that punk happened in Manhattan was inexpensive rents. All those things are gone. That's why like you said, Dewey, I feel like, is another genre ever going to develop? Because there's no place to do it. There,
Right.
there isn't in inner cities. It is so expensive that who's gonna provide the space?
Yeah, this is
Yeah.
true.
Yeah, and I think that's part of the disheartening part, because you think about its impact on culture when the young people don't have a place to gather. And I just say young people collectively, right? But when they don't have a place to gather, what are they going to do? They've got all this energy, they've got all of this, curiosity, and they have all these unanswered questions. And the places where we gathered was where this stuff happened, and you got answers. And to your point about house musical, he found, when he went to the club, he started getting answers because he saw other people like himself.
Yeah.
So it's a real problem, DJ Dewey B. You spot on, man.
Yeah.
Yes, it's truly a problem. But it's a good thing to celebrate it and record it in history with a musical. That's a great thing. That's a solid beginning for in whatever it's
Yeah.
going to be, but it's solid.
That's
Yeah,
great.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So,
that was the concept. I mean, my goal always, I have this thing about trying to be the first at whatever I'm trying to do. And I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, I think it's the first musical about house. I think it is. And the thing is, I feel like we're also, beside that, we were the right people to do it because we were there. And so the musicals is very much 1986 Chicago. The songs are very raw, and it's not like, Broadway version of it at all. It's house.
all right. And so I've got a question. Everybody wants to know. Okay, we hear you. Tell us about this musical. Give us the details, when it's opening, and I want to ask you another question.
So it's at the Center on Halsted, which is 3656 North Halsted. It's in their Hoover Leppen Theater, which is a really beautiful theater. The Center on Halsted is the LGBT community center in Chicago. And the show is a benefit for their youth outreach programs. And so it runs, the preview is Thursday, April 20th at 7:30 p.m. The opening night is Friday, April 21st at 7:30 p.m. And then it runs Thursday through Sunday, and then the next Thursday through Sunday, all at 7:30. And so the last night is April 30th. And people can get tickets over at the Center on Halsted. Their website, you got to just wait for the pictures to scroll on, and then you click on the one when it says house musical. Otherwise, it's centeronhalsted.org/housemusical.html. But remember those long things are.
So that is starting this coming Thursday,
Yes,
April 20th, and tickets you can buy at the center, or obviously when you get there. What time does it start on the 20th? What time
every
are the
night
shows?
is 7:30.
7:30 each night. Okay.
Yep.
All right. So now, what can people expect? Is somebody asleep? Is that my phone? Can you hear that? I hear something. Do you guys hear it?
No, it's okay. We're okay.
No?
Thanks.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. That's good. Interesting. So, what can people expect in this story? Okay. I know the story is about this character coming of age through house, but I'm sure there's some other things that are talked about and captured in this musical.
Yeah, it does deal, like I said, it's kind of the combining of two stories. So it's Marcus Waller's pretty autobiographical, and he had a rough time. When he came, I mean, this is going to give all the plots away. So spoiler alerts to anybody who wants to start off. He comes out of the closet and his mother kicks him out, and he's homeless for a while. He gets addicted to drugs. Riley, through his trying to get a hit song, he has AIDS, and that was Riley. I mean, we're being truthful to his story, and we kept his name actually as a tribute to him. So it's a difficult road that people are on in this musical, but it's also I've thought about it a lot. It is very much a musical about love. It's about forgiveness. It's a family, even though it's got a lot of rough stuff. It's about family. It's very much about family.
So at least I know I'm not crazy. The folks on Twitch here snoring too, so I know I'm not crazy. There's someone in the midst of us snoring somewhere. I have no idea where it's coming from.
The house music.
That's great. It might be my dog. I got my dog near me, so it could be Luca the bulldog. He's got a pretty loud snore. So yeah.
The bulldog is in the house. So you're dealing with not just house music, but that's what I like about the musical, is that it's speaking about our culture at that time and some of the difficulties and challenges that we dealt with during that time that bear reflecting upon, because we've come a long way.
Yeah, we deal with racism in the LGBT community too, which was very prevalent, and people don't realize, like, there was the 3 IDs at the door. If a group of blacks came to the club on Halsted, that was very common, and people can't even believe that was possible, but it definitely was there. So we deal with that. There's a lot of internal struggles, and yet I mean, I was hoping that what we were doing was kind of bringing forth the rise of the Black LGBT community in Chicago, because I felt that was the time when things really coalesced. I think Halsted Street in that world was very white, and very white dominated, and so this is the point. And really, it was house music that actually made that happen, in my opinion, because so much of the warehouse started things, but then clubs were popping up like crazy all over the place, and I think the clubs existed also because of house, because people wanted to go out and experience house, and they were going to spend money in these clubs. So.
Yeah. So a question for you from the chat, as you think about dealing with racism, not just race, but
We may have lost you, Derek. He was going to ask.
Yeah. So I think he was moving along the lines of how it has progressed or recessed to the year 2023. I mean, how do you all feel about it right now? What does it make you feel right now?
Well, I think that to me, I think if Marcus was here, he would really want to emphasize survival. That's how he feels. Mm-hmm. We are all of the same age, and he made it through that, and I think that's probably would be the focus of what he's trying to bring with writing this musical. Also, is just the whole aspect of being proud of surviving, because it was very difficult. His opinion is that the house scene got wiped out by crack, and which I didn't experience it at all, and I didn't know that he had a drug addiction at the time, and so I had a different take. I thought it was hip house that killed house music, but I put out a hip house record. I'm so embarrassed. There it is.
You still have a copy.
I knew it at the time. I was like, "This is going to kill house. This is going to kill house."
Yeah, well, I love it.
Yeah, I
You
love
know,
that. I love your point, DJ, too. I mean, there are a lot of struggles today, right? I mean, it's not
mhm.
like all the struggles have all of a sudden disappeared, and maybe they're a little different, but it's still real hard out there on the streets, and we know that.
Yeah,
I love that, the spiritual aspect of this, and how, the character here is able to find kind of a real family that will support him and empower him. And maybe, it's a little bit of how the music can bring people together and empower them, and, how art can bring folks together and help us, overcome all the challenges we all face. So again, to Scott, we're trying to paint and ultimately a very tough but hopeful story. And however it could resonate with young folks today, would would be really beautiful if if they could see it and kind of experience what had happened at the time, and kind of get something out of that.
I agree.
Yeah, and I tell you, the actors, all they talk about is going to Queen on Sundays, over at I'm forgetting the name of the club. Oh my God. But yeah, there's a Sunday night. Michael Serafini, I think, does it. So yeah, the young kids are in the house. I will say that they are. They are right now.
That's awesome. So I was
Yeah.
going to ask, and I think you guys may have pivoted because I got kicked out. I got
Yeah.
booted. I got booted. Maybe they didn't like the line of questioning I was going
Uh-oh.
down. But as you think about the discrimination against the LGBTQ community, as white males and your black brothers, how did that kind of coexist? The racism, the ethnic racism against the sexual orientation discrimination.
For me, I always, and again, this is a white perspective, right? And I was, I thought I was, I thought I was the only white person in the house. And now, as I talked to so many white folks, and they would tell the same story. I was the only white person there. I was the only white person there. So, maybe on average, there was one white person in the Black Gay clubs, but it wasn't, just me. But I always felt, um, for me, I always felt, from my perspective, that they were Black clubs first, and then they were
Mm.
gay clubs. And what was important was being able to be in a Black space and experience that. And yes, the majority of people in there were gay, but there were definitely straight people in there. And there wasn't conflict. They knew that, I mean, it was a celebration, And so that's the perspective that I had, as, kind of the outsider in there.
You,
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
I've thought about that, Scott, which is, it's funny, Derek, we were so accepted. I mean, as
Oh God,
Scott
of
said,
course.
when he came back, we met so many people who just welcomed us. I was thinking about, we were really trying to really broaden our horizons on music, and we were getting into gospel at one point, and we went down to a Southside Baptist church, and we were like, here we go, we're pretty tall, like these two tall, skinny young white guys going to this Baptist church. And I am telling you, I have never felt as welcomed in a church as I did, and it was amazing how that experience affected me, and helped me kind of really try to become even more open-minded, right?
I'm almost sure that was the Tommies, the Thompson Community Singers.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Milton Brunson. And actually, to tie that in, I'm going to plug my record again, because not that record, but Transient with Sherman Benton. He was the
Sherman.
vocalist, and he sang with the Thompson Community Singers.
Wow,
You guys know the
that's
Thompson? You know the Tommies?
incredible.
God, they're incredible.
Was it Derek May? Was it Derek May, Scott? Was
No,
he one of the guys there?
The piano player, and the writer. Now he runs it. He runs like the reunion Tommies. I forget. Oh my God, it's so bad names. Yeah.
Well, hey, gentlemen, I appreciate you guys so much for taking time. One, to just reminisce and talk about house, but two, this amazing musical that you have. Once again, let's let everybody know when the opening is, and give them the storyline again.
Yeah. So it's House Musical, Coming of Age in the Age of House. And it is a story of a young Black gay man on the South Side who finds his strength to come out of the closet by sneaking into the warehouse, and where Frankie Knuckles was starting all that house music. And so it runs April 20th through April 30th, Thursdays through Sundays at 7:30 p.m. And if you go to the Center on Halsted's website, you'll see the picture there, and you just click on it, and that'll be the link right to the tickets.
Fantastic. Thank you guys so much for joining us, Michael and Scott. DJ Dewey B, as you think about this house musical, coming of age in the age of house, what do you want to say to folks that are out there in the house community?
We need to get out and support this event. This is important to the music, for the music, because the music is what brings us all together, ultimately.
Absolutely.
So, hey guys, if you are in the Chicagoland area, house musical coming of age in the age of house, and we thank you guys so very much, and we're looking forward to hearing great stuff from this amazing event that's so timely and so needed. Appreciate you guys so much. For everybody in House Culture Conversations Lounge, hey, there it is. He's got the shirt. For everybody in House Culture Conversations Land, thank you guys so much. We'll see you next time. Peace.
Thank you so much, Derek and Dewey.
Hey,
Thank you.
Take care.
Okay. All right. We'll see you.
Bye now.
See you there.